On March 15, 2023, in Austin, Texas, a significant incident began at a technology firm known for its advanced data management solutions. The company, named Datasphere Technologies, had established itself as a leader in providing cloud-based data solutions and analytics for various industries, from finance to healthcare. Operating on a complex digital infrastructure, Datasphere relied heavily on a multitude of interconnected systems that processed vast amounts of sensitive data for clients. The initial failure occurred when users reported difficulty accessing their data dashboards. The complaints surfaced around 9 a.m., with clients expressing frustration over unexpected error messages. The issue was traced back to the firm's data visualization platform, where users found that real-time data feeds were not functioning as intended. An immediate investigation centered around a recent update to the internal database management protocol. Engineers quickly identified that during the update, a crucial misconfiguration had occurred, inadvertently changing access permissions. This misconfiguration allowed certain internal systems to access data feeds without proper validation, failing to enforce the necessary security checks required for data retrieval. By 10 a.m., the failing system had a measurable impact. User access to the data visualization platform dropped by 40%, leading to a spike in help desk calls from clients. Within a few hours, Datasphere documented over 500 support tickets, equating to approximately 20% of their client base experiencing disruptions simultaneously. The company estimated a potential revenue loss of around $250,000 due to the inability of clients to access their data insights for critical business operations. Additionally, the data feeds that were visible to the unauthorized systems exposed sensitive data elements for an undetermined period, raising concerns around compliance with data protection regulations. Inside the organization, responses varied rapidly. An incident response team initiated a triage process to address the failure, leading to chaotic internal communication. Staff members exchanged a flurry of emails, with some suggesting quick fixes that lacked a full understanding of the underlying problem. The team used an incident response channel to discuss the situation, where conflicting opinions emerged about whether to roll back the recent updates or to implement a patch to fix the misconfiguration. Several engineers assumed that a simple restart of the affected services would resolve the issue, while others feared that deeper systemic weaknesses were at play. Externally, the first signals began to emerge as clients took to social media to voice their frustrations. Monitoring systems flagged a notable uptick in negative sentiment surrounding Datasphere brand mentions, with media outlets starting to pick up the developing story. By noon, minor articles began circulating online, speculating about the implications of the outage. Still, Datasphere's public communication was primarily limited to assuring clients that the issue was being addressed and that updates would follow. As the day progressed, the internal investigation commenced in earnest. Analysts reviewed system logs to identify unauthorized access instances, focusing intently on permissions to clarify who had accessed what data and when. This analysis revealed not only the misconfiguration, but also inconsistencies related to internal tooling processes that had not been properly documented. The team discovered that some staff had elevated permissions that should not have been granted, leading to further scrutiny of employee access levels. The growing outage prompted the leadership team to convene an emergency meeting. Concerns mounted about the security implications of the data exposure, particularly if sensitive client information had been accessed by the misconfigured systems. The possibility of sabotage was not yet on the table, but discussions began to hint at the need for strengthened internal controls and more stringent protocols regarding access management. By late afternoon, the initial chaos had somewhat subsided as the engineering team stabilized the situation, but unresolved issues lingered. The patch to fix the permission errors was implemented, but there remained uncertainty about whether all data issues had been addressed. Users continued to experience intermittent access issues, and the anticipation of further disruptions perturbed both staff and clients alike. As investigations into the digital footprints intensified, early suspicions emerged regarding whether there might be more than just an incident of negligence at play. Datasphere's leadership decided to broaden the investigation scope. They engaged cybersecurity experts to conduct a forensic analysis on their infrastructure. This brought in a new set of eyes to examine the previous patterns of access and identify any anomalies that could indicate sabotage. As the experts delved deep into data logs, early indications of unauthorized attempts to manipulate data and access sensitive areas of the network began surfacing, further complicating the already precarious situation. investigation. With time running out, the pressure mounted, clients demanded clarity, and the media began speculating on the firm's ability to recover from what appeared to be a serious breach of trust. Internally, the atmosphere shifted from reactive to increasingly investigative. Some team members began to question existing protocols, while others worried about potential repercussions for the companies involved. The narrative was no longer just focused on a system failure, but potentially evolving into a deeper issue that could threaten the company's reputation and operational integrity. As the investigation continued, the data management landscape within DataSphere transformed. Security reviews created new protocols that aimed to eliminate potential vectors for internal sabotage. Increased scrutiny of employee actions compounded the tension. Employees began discussing potential signs of distress within the organization, especially among those who had accessed sensitive data near the time of the incident. Trust issues began to surface among teams. Just as the organization started to regain some semblance of order, an unexpected notification arrived from their external security team. They had identified another irregularity, a series of unauthorized user logins that appeared to coincide with the onset of the first outage. DataSphere's senior management quickly convened another meeting to assess these findings, collectively wrestling with the implications. Had their worst fears materialized, and if so, how deep did the sabotage go? As uncertainty swirled, the narrative around DataSphere Technologies was only beginning to unfold. As the team pored over the new findings, the unauthorized logins highlighted not only a systematic breach, but also a potential collusion between insiders. The analysis revealed two unique accounts that had been accessing confidential client data at unexpected hours. This raised suspicions and prompted DataSphere to take immediate precautionary measures, including a temporary suspension of employee accounts linked to the flagged logins. With the investigation escalating, DataSphere's senior management issued a company-wide memo urging employees to report any unusual activity. This memo coincided with an external audit request from a key client who had been affected by the outages. The audit was intended to assess damages and evaluate the security posture of DataSphere. The legal ramifications of the situation were becoming clearer, and concerns about potential lawsuits loomed over the company. Over the following week, the situation catalyzed further scrutiny of DataSphere's internal processes. A communication breakdown surfaced, revealing that critical warnings from both employees and external auditors had previously gone unaddressed. This negligence included previously flagged vulnerabilities regarding access control systems and an outdated incident response plan. As the investigation continued, the impact of the disruptions became more profound. Reports emerged that several clients had experienced service outages that resulted in substantial financial losses, with estimates reaching into the millions. The number of consumers affected grew as DataSphere's client base extended across multiple sectors, including finance, healthcare, and telecommunication. Furthermore, there were reports of unauthorized access to sensitive employee and client data, significantly amplifying the potential risks of identity theft or fraud. On the institutional response front, law enforcement became involved as evidence suggested that the activity might involve criminal intent. DataSphere cooperated fully, providing access to internal logs and documentation. Following investigations, several employees were placed on administrative leave pending outcome determinations. Emergency protocols were established, including a substantial migration of critical infrastructure to a more secure environment to mitigate further risks. Meanwhile, the company's public relations team took action to curb the growing speculation and mounting negative press. They issued a detailed statement outlining the steps being taken to address the situation, including the engagement of third-party cybersecurity firms and comprehensive audits. They also highlighted the priority of client security since the incidents began, attempting to restore some confidence among clients and partners alike. However, as internal emails and chat logs began leaking outside the firm, revealing negligence and dismissals of crucial warnings, the narrative quickly shifted. Journalists reported that a former employee dismissed months earlier for behavioral issues had been implicated as orchestrating the breaches. Public sentiment swiftly turned, leading to reputational damage, with key clients choosing to sever contracts with DataSphere in favor of competitors. As the months unfolded, the consequences were undeniably harsh. The company grappled with significant financial losses, ultimately leading to a reduction in workforce and increased operational costs related to security upgrades. By the end of the quarter, DataSphere's leadership announced a restructuring phase, leaving the firm vulnerable and pulling detailed emergency operational plans aimed at recovery from its current state. In late November 2023, after exhaustive internal and external investigations, DataSphere publicly announced the results, disclosing that the breaches were indeed due to insider actions incited by unaddressed grievances and a culture of ignored warning. This resulted in several dismissals, though no criminal charges were filed against employees. employees, as investigations concluded that the perpetrators acted without broader collusion. Ultimately, Datasphere faced long-term repercussions, including diminished market trust and reduced client confidence in their data management capabilities. The company began emphasizing comprehensive policy reforms aimed at security and transparency, but its reputation never fully recovered. As of December 2023, Datasphere continues to operate under close scrutiny, having implemented numerous security measures in hopes of regaining lost trust but grappling with the shadow of past failure.